us many things that we won't necessarily need in our life. So in school we're learning about people eating insects, and I don't think we need to know that when we grow older.
We can enjoy failure more if our parents are more supportive.
Relatability, because people, they kind of look at another person and they're like, oh, this guy already succeeded, but maybe he failed 50 times more than you did and then succeeded. It's not one time success, it's like you have to try, you have to work hard.
Show of Live or Hive. So the objective of this show is for us to take some of the big questions of the real world and pose it to kids in our classrooms and really find out what they think. Because in my experience at least, you guys are very wise and very smart and very insightful, and I think the world could do with some of your opinions. Now, the topic for today is this idea that, okay, a lot of your parents, a lot of people in my generation, believe that you in Dubai are being brought up in a bubble-wrapped world. You're not in a bubble, right? You just live in this little perfect little bubble where you don't actually see any of the problems with the world, and in fact you're not ready for the real world. So question number one is, do you think that you are not ready for the real world? If you think you're not ready for the real world, put your hand up. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. Let's start with you all. Why do you feel like you're not being prepared for the real world out there?
Because in school they teach us many things that we won't necessarily need in our life. So in school we're learning about people eating insects, and I don't think we need to know that when we grow older.
What do you need to know then?
You need to know about banking and finance.
And how to use your money. What do you think, Roshan?
About Dubai, not school exactly.
Dubai or school? Do you feel like you're growing up in a bubble?
Yeah, because mostly everything here is available and too easily, I think. Like taxi, ordering food, you can just tap, and shopping also, you can just tap on your phone and instantly get it. So I think that's too easy.
Yeah. Have you had experiences where anybody older than you has gone out from Dubai and they're just like, oh my god, the outside world is way overwhelming. This is a lot.
My grandparents, they visited Dubai. They were like, this is a lazy place. There's people, they're selling cut up vegetables. Why do you need to sell cut up vegetables? You can do it yourself like that.
That's a good point. Why do you need cut up vegetables when you can cut it yourself? It's an unthinkable idea, right?
So when I moved from India to Dubai, I came here and school was actually really easy. So I had to move schools to a British school,
right?
Because I was in an American school. And then when I went to India and saw my friends' homework, my brain exploded.
Why? Why did your brain explode?
It was so hard. And then when I came here, they just give it to you. They give the answers to you.
They're literally like, please do well in your test. In fact, here are the answers. Just so you can all look good.
You so that
they look good.
They spoon feed you so that their school has a good reputation.
Ah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I agree with them because sometimes there was in my school, there was a teacher, she teaches Equalio. So basically in my school and some of the schools here, what they do, they give you the notes. For a particular chapter, they give you the question answers and maybe an exam they come. But in places in India, my cousins and all, they have to make the notes, they have to study, they just have one book. So
you got to figure it out on your own. Okay, for those of you who do feel like you're totally ready for the real world, and this is a fallacy, I'm sorry, but why? What makes you think that I'm living in a bubble? Do you feel that way?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay, so tell me, in what parts of your life you feel that I'm living in a complete bubble, and there are parts of your life where oh my god, I'm not ready for the real world, yaar.
Sometimes in some subjects, they don't first of all teach the topic, and then they suddenly give burden on children to learn it as quick as they can.
Yeah.
Because of exams, and then teachers themselves tells that the exam is hard, but then they still make the exam and just give give it to us.
So you think it's actually the opposite. So we've got Aryaman here saying that they made it too simple, and you're saying that they make it too hard. Do you feel the same way? Sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, I understand he said sometimes
Yeah.
because sometimes they just give the answer and then,
Right.
they ask us what the questions are and we already know the answers.
Right.
So they just gave us the structure. We just have to say it.
You just have to say the answer. Okay. What do you think, Arav? Do you think we're growing up in a bubble? It's a bad idea to
So
bring
like what I think is like the definition of the real world changes like every day, right? So everyone's looking for convenience and everyone wants to be lazy and that's why food apps like Zomato, Talabat and like all of these that
exist.
they exist and they're coming up and they're there's more usage. So I don't think we're living in a bubble. The world is probably gonna be like this from now on. So because it changes because we are the next generation, right? So we decide how the world is going to be next.
Yeah, and to add to your grandparents' point of view, right? It's that if I have to, let's say I have a really busy life and I have to prioritize either cutting my vegetables or doing my work project, you know what? I'll pay the extra $5 and have my vegetables cut for me, and I don't really need to invest my time in that. Like, why should I? And similarly, why should I have to carry buckets of water from a well when there's a tap that will just put water into my bathroom? Or why do I have to physically do that? Do you agree with that point of view?
Yeah, I don't think we should since we're going up and everything's so convenient, we don't have to do that physical work. We can focus on better things like access to healthcare or like awareness stuff.
Yeah, I want to go back to what Aryaman said. Okay, so this whole thing of in school in India, it's hard. You got to work, like Vedika pointed out as well. You got to really put in the effort. They make it tough. Now, I as a teacher know this. I'm constantly on the edge about this, right? Now, there's one part of my brain that's telling me, make the exam hard. Make it really tough for these kids to achieve this so that they have to work hard. The other part of my head is thinking, every time I do an exam that's really tough and a kid starts to tear up when they're doing an exam, I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I should just make this simple. School and learning should not be stressful. It should not be so tough. My kids are struggling and it's not right. So you see the two sides of that. Where do I as a teacher draw the line?
Okay, so sometimes when they make question papers, they make it so hard and sometimes they make it too easy. But as for the question papers, they copy from Google and all, so it's kind of difficult and yeah.
So sometimes it's difficult, but what do you think, Rishika? Like, do you think should we as teachers, as educators, start actually doing what Aryaman was saying, which is like use the India model, like make it really hard, make them work.
I think you should make it really hard because then if it's easy and then you go into the real world, you'll be struggling a lot. But if you start off having everything hard, then it won't be as hard when you grow older. So I think you should
make it hard now.
I'm not totally with that fact because I think they should make it slightly hard and slightly easy. Because if it's too hard, like you said, it can get stressful. If it's too easy, they won't be prepared for the real world. So they can have it slightly hard, slightly easy, so like somewhere in the middle.
Okay, another accusation, right, Chris, about your generation is that you guys are very, and the word often used is fragile. Right? You're so fragile. A little bit of stress and finished. You all will start crying. You will be sad. You will be upset. And this is an accusation that a lot of people from my generation make about your generation, right? And people around your age. Do you feel that's true?
Yeah, I do. It's like they don't give enough work into the stuff that really matters. Like imagine you're studying civics or history, which is already done. It's in the past, and you're putting much more effort into it than you put into maths. Then you can't just use that in after you get a job. You can't use that knowledge.
So you're saying history is useless, maths is useful. Let's not study history, let's study maths instead.
No, you need to know the history of your place, but you should not give it much more important than the things that actually matter.
Okay. I saw your hand go up.
As you said, people describe us as fragile. I want to point
I can't hear you, huh?
as people mention that you're fragile.
Yeah.
this is very true because my dad keeps telling me, oh, when I was your age, I used to play till 8 o'clock in the night. Oh, when I was your age, I used to go to my friend's house and play Monopoly. But then at that time also, there wasn't as much work and as much stress as there is now.
Okay, so do you all agree that stress is affecting you all a lot more than the 11-year-old versions of your parents? Like my generation felt a lot less stress than you guys are feeling right now. Do you agree that you have a lot more stress?
Yes.
Okay, so what's contributing to the stress machine that we have made? Because we can't be, as adults now, we're even scared to give you a test, yaar. Look what we're doing, we're giving you the answer like, nahi, beta, don't get stressed. Here, just take the answers. We're so scared of giving you stress, that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, so, like, suppose my school, right? We basically, since they made it 4-day work week, we don't have a lot of days to do this studies, right? So, first of all, they put a Saturday class, which is fine, I understand that. But now, basically, they want us to do, like, 5 tests or 6 tests, right? So, they wanted us to do a PT2 test, a periodic test. So, what they did was, since they didn't have the time, they cut like the holiday 1 week for the winter holiday, and they made all the exams in 1 week. So all 6 exams in 4 days, and then break, and then 2 days. So I don't get time. So like I don't get time to do anything in those 4 days and the days before that and the days after that because it's too busy, and I just have to prepare for one exam. That's done. I have to prepare for another, then for another.
I agree, Arav. I mean, I meet kids every day, and their schedules are tougher than mine. And I think I have a pretty tough schedule. Like, I don't do anything but work. I'm a workaholic. I have a problem. And you guys are actually equal to me, which is scary. Because you shouldn't be.
And then after that, we're supposed to do the extracurriculars for like college. And then like extra tests, like Olympiads and other contests. And
your point is that it's just too busy. There's too much stuff. We need to take stuff off your plate.
That's true. Because even now the exams is going to come from me.
Yeah.
It starts from January 8th.
Yeah.
And it ends at February 13th. It's all because these acids, they just give us more force. And then the exam is going to come study, blah blah blah.
So too many tests, too many exams, yeah.
Like, so basically, sometimes they put exams. You have to do extracurricular activities like you said, and like in some they'll put like gratis day in the middle, and then they make you like, as teachers' impression, they'll make you do work and stuff. Are you gonna study, do extracurricular activities, or are you gonna do the work, or like? Then
okay, so there's just too much. There's studying, there's extracurriculars, there's other stuff you have to do, like whatever, annual day, ye day, wo day, whatever, random, make a project, make a poster, okay?
It's something to do with what parents want, you can also say. Because usually parents want their child to excel, so they put them in more things. Like for me, I have classes back to back every day. I come back from school, I have a class. After that, I have to study for an exam. I don't get time to like
decompress.
Exactly.
Right. So if we could schedule in decompression time, which is just time where you don't have anything on your schedule, we would make healthier, happier children who would probably be doing better in school. Then after that, we can make your studies tougher, or then also we have to give you the answer and say, please, answer that.
You can make the studies tougher after that because then we have time to study as well rather than just clogged up classes the entire time.
Could that be the reason, Aryaman, that your friends in India, maybe they don't have as many extracurriculars and they don't have as many ye day, wo day, annual day?
Yes, but also no, because some people have no extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And some people have back to back.
Right.
Like my cousin has back to back every single day.
Right.
And she has Olympiad and all that stuff.
Right.
Which like is really hard for her.
Right.
And it's also way more stressful because now college applications are way harder. There's so many more people and the acceptance rate is really low.
So you got to fight to make it to that 0.2% or that 2% on the top. I want to ask you, Chris, most parents who are listening to this, somewhere in the back of their heads, I think, have this impression that, Arey, what's the big deal, man? We also had exams, yaar. What is all this stress? New word you've learned, this stress. This is the sort of narrative, right? Which is like, we also had exams. In fact, we had tougher exams. We had longer papers. We had to do more work. In fact, we had to walk so many kilometers to go to school, etc., etc. You know the rest of the
That's true, because sometimes like when I say this exam was very hard and blah blah blah. And he'll tell me to spell that word. Where did you learn this word? How is it new? Spell me this word. Do you even know the spelling of the word? And then he's like, we used to go 1 kilometer far to get milk and come back home. And yeah, blah blah stuff.
And now you're just ordering it on Talabat.
Yeah, and then he's like, we had more harder, tougher exams for you. See, I got 100 out of 100 out of 100 in maths and blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. But how do we defend that point? How if I have to take your argument, okay, to a room of adults, and they have to say, "Arey, what's the big deal? We also had exams. Defend it."
During their age, they didn't have the technology to do assets and all homework in their computer. But now, like, we have assets, IXL, and many other things, just so you can improve our grade and so school can show off the things. So it's kind of stressful, more stressful than
It's
this.
more stressful. Why? Because you have more assessments, because you have more subjects. What specifically is making your exams tougher than your parents' exams?
For example, we have more exams than them. Like every asset or every assignment they give, it's like giving an exam, but they don't have that because they already know what they're learning. But for us, they have to check like every period that if we are learning properly, you know.
Okay. What do you think, Roshan? You think the stress is exponentially more?
Well, their parents didn't really care much about what they did, so they could just do whatever in the exam, and they didn't have anything else going on, right? They kind of only had that exam or whatever. They were, and nowadays it's much more competitive. Like, you're not only forced to excel in that exam, you're forced to excel in every other field, like, you know, extracurriculars, whatever else you do. So something like that.
So you've got to be, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong here, not only do you have to be an academic A-star, you've got to also be on the football team, win your matches, get a Trinity College of London grade 8 in speech and drama, and play the violin, and be a ballet dancer, and have friends, and be on top of the social game, and have a great Instagram account, and preferably a YouTube channel. And if you get like funded by a VC or something when you're 15, then good on you, you're in the top 2%. Is that the scene right now?
Yeah, and like basically in some of the classes, like there are so many kids, and like most of them like, oh my god, she's able to do this, and I cannot do it, and this and that.
Or is there also comparison between people?
So much of pressure.
Yeah, I feel you.
And also, like right now I asked one. We have personalized learning.
Yeah.
They didn't have that. They just, so let's say if there was a child who's struggling with it, so too bad. They had to do what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
And now, so we have the Homer website and IXL. So it's personalized learning based on your results. So your weak areas. But in that time, they just
Shouldn't that be better for you? Why is that worse?
That's better for us. But right now also this stuff is harder. Because I asked my dad, for help with the homework. Like blah blah blah, what is X equal? He's like, how am I supposed to know this?
What?
We didn't do this stuff in school.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to go back to the primary question that we started out with, right? Which is, are you guys ready for the real world? If we had to create a generation of kids who were better equipped for the real world, when I say real world, I'm thinking in my adult experience, what are the things that get me and my friends down? It's heartbreak, it's financial losses, it's like when something goes badly and you hit a real low point in your life and you're like really depressed and you can't bring yourself out of it. These are the things that actually get us down in the real world. I mean, I don't know anybody who's felt sad about not being able to calculate the length of a hypotenuse. Like, I don't know anybody who's had a depressive time in their life because they didn't know the difference between perimeter and volume. Yeah, but how can we raise children who are more resilient for the future, like who will be able to face the real world without getting down, not being knocked down to their knees, like maybe in cases where we were too? Vivek, to start with you.
People being more supportive.
So you think kids need more support?
Yeah.
In what way? Can you define that support for me?
When something goes wrong, example, someone shows what's positive, like you can get back up, or they give phrases where you feel nice instead of being let down.
You don't think that's mollycoddling our kids too much? You're so great, you're a special snowflake, you're amazing, you are unique.
No, not like that. Just to make them feel better when like something happened to them or they feel bad.
We need more positivity in their expression. Okay.
What I think is like, suppose we do these competitions and stuff, right? There's like a pressure to get first or get on the podium. What I think it should be like a track on how your performance, your individual performance should be like. In this competition you did this good, and in that competition you did this good. It should not be like as a society like you should be first, you should be second.
Okay, I want to take that home to our let me make it real world right now. So what you're saying is that I shouldn't say Arav came first in class in drama. I should say Arav increased by 3 points from his previous drama exam.
Yeah.
That's a better assessment of your success than like first in class, last in class, and all that jazz. Yeah.
So I agree with Vivan, and like I think that when someone like has done badly, you should make them feel better about themselves,
Yeah.
but like not too good about themselves that they won't study and do the same score again, knowing that their parents would be happy.
Yeah. A lot of experts nowadays say that there's a gigantic fear of failure in your generation. Do you feel that you guys are all super scared to fail?
Yeah.
How can we get you to start liking failure? Because anything worth doing is something that you're likely going to fail at. How can I get you to start loving failing?
Because when you fail, you learn from your mistakes. So if you get everything correct, then you're just going to be like, okay. But when you fail, you're going to keep trying and trying until you like fully master that thing.
We say that, but when you go to school, nobody's like clapping for the kid who failed in their exam, right? So we're saying all this like learn from failure and all that jazz. We put it up as big, messages on our notice boards. But in the real world, we're only celebrating success. So how can I get you to love failure?
So you can like love failure if you like success like a lot and like you finally make one mistake, then you learn from that mistake
to get to more success. Okay, alright.
I think like what she said, in some way, we can like enjoy failure more if like our parents are more supportive. Because for me, I have this thing with my parents when I make a mistake or I get bad grades or I fail or something, they get mad at me. So usually parents get mad at their child for failing or doing bad, which makes them not want to fail.
Yeah.
Which will reduce the scope of success because you won't learn from your mistakes.
Then you'll just keep doing 2 plus 2 for the rest of your life because you know that the answer will always be 4 and they will not get mad at you. So best to just do 2 plus 2. No need to attempt 3 plus 3.
That's
Correct? Okay. Chris.
Like if you keep on getting everything correct again and again, you will always have this mindset that tells you know everything. So if you find something you don't know, you'll actually just struggle with it more than you can help yourself.
Okay. Yes, Rishika, you had something to say.
So you can like make them like failure more. So if you have a lot of success and one fail, your parents will know that you're like feeling very sad, and also they'll like buy you something to make you happy. So when you fail, you get what you want. But when you're always successing, they'll just be like, oh, okay, that's
It's just
happening
another
all
day.
the time.
Okay, Roshan, I'm going to bring it back again to that question of how can we prep our children for the real world? How can I build a resilient future generation?
Maybe relatability, because people, they kind of look at another person, they're like, oh, this guy already succeeded, but maybe he failed 50 times more than you did and then succeeded. Like, you need to open it up more.
We need to talk about our
Yeah,
failures
you
more.
need to understand that it's not one-time success, it's like you have to try, you have to work hard like that.
Can I push that a little bit more? If every single adult in your life, I'm talking about all of your teachers, maybe your parents too, all the adults who you look up to, your mentors, were to have a day where they came out and they said, hey listen, here were the biggest failures of my life. These were the relationships I was really bad at. These were the friendships that I failed. These were the things that I didn't do well. These were the mistakes that I made. Would you feel like that vulnerability would help you deal with life a lot better?
I mean, if you look up to them, then you know like, oh, it's okay, I can fail also. It's not, you're not like, perfect, flawless. So you can be better and still fail.
Excellent. Okay.
I would also like to say that.
I can barely hear you, darling.
Sorry, I would also like to say that parents, they pressure us because their parents pressure them.
Yeah.
So they feel that, because since we had to do this, why don't they also have to do this?
Yeah.
But why if they can't? Because my dad always said, my granddad, he always used to punish him a lot.
Yeah.
So like he used to put him outside the house
Yeah.
because he used to get one question wrong.
Yeah.
So they feel that it's the same thing with this generation.
Yeah.
If they get one question wrong, we should punish them too.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Why should we not punish them?
Yeah.
So you think we need to break generational patterns in a way, right? Just because your grandparents did it to your parents, there's no reason for your parents to do it to you, or for that matter for you to do it. So like check what you're doing, check yourself and see whether you're doing this because you really think it's right or because that's just the way you were parented. Kind of?
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
So like some parents, they like compare their generation to our generation when like,
Yeah.
everything is so different. And like they also like another way they compare is like with kids only, with like classmates and like supposedly I'm a twin, so maybe my parents don't compare me and Dwarka, she's my twin sister. But like all the teachers are like, oh, she's so quiet and she's not, and oh my god, she's so great and this and that.
Yeah, it's really annoying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being compared to a sister is hard enough. Being compared to a twin sister is like, oh! Yeah, I feel you. I really do. What do you think? How can we raise kids better for the real world? What should we be actually teaching them in school according to you?
We should be teaching them something which they don't know.
Like,
Like
instead of learning history, what should we learn? And?
English science.
Okay.
Banking.
Banking, how to manage your money, and come on, give me new subject options
Saving
here.
your money.
Saving your money,
Investing.
investing, so you can get rich, and
Economic business and economic.
okay, this is all money stuff, guys. What about other stuff? Like what about mental
How
health?
to develop
What about psychology?
healthy
Therapy.
relationship.
Therapy,
How to be a doctor. Develop a healthy relationship.
how to develop healthy relationships,
How to be a doctor.
or how to take care of your own health. If you don't need a doctor, if you don't
How
want
to
to
like
take
navigate social groups.
how to navigate social groups, yeah. How to get to the top of a social group or just not be eaten up by the yeah.
How to like expect what's coming in the future and how you could save yourself from their mistakes.
Yeah, more vulnerabilities from the leaders in your life so that you can avoid those mistakes. I think we've had an amazing conversation today, and I really think that you've opened the eyes of many adults to some of the things they might be doing not so great, and some of the things they might actually be doing right. So thank you very much, guys. You've been an amazing panel.
Thank you.